Welcome to another episode of Wakili Quick One. Johnson is away, and today I have the pleasure of having an OG. I don't think there's any M&A that has been done in Kenya that he's not been part of. Anyway, before we get to that stuff, let us start with the soft stuff, and let's know our guest. What's your name?
My name is PARAS Shah. I'm a lawyer here in Bowman's. In my day job, I'm also the managing partner.
Yeah.
Of the office here.
Yes. Yeah. So Paras, I want to take you back to the young Paras. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Yeah. The formative years before you went to university.
Yeah. Look, I am a fourth generation Kenyan.
A fourth generation Kenyan.
So
do you know Swahili?
Kabisa.
Good.
Yeah. Ninaongea tu.
Yeah.
I've even done an interview with BBC in Kiswahili.
And Swahili?
Yes.
Impressive.
I can't say it was very good or very well viewed, but I had done it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm very much born and bred in our city of Nairobi.
Yeah.
I went to primary school here and secondary school here.
Yeah. Where did you go to primary school?
Primary I was at Oshawa, and secondary I was at Hillcrest.
Just in
yes. Mm-hmm. So from the age of 12 I was at Hillcrest until I finished my A-levels in 92.
Mm-hmm.
After which I went to the UK for university to King's College in London. Yeah. When I graduated from there in 95, I did the legal practice legal practice course or LPC, which is your qualification towards being a solicitor in the UK, in London, in the College of Law in London.
Yeah.
I finished that in 96, and then I was fortunate to get a training contract in a firm in the City of London, where I qualified. It was a firm called Davis Arnold Cooper. Yeah. It's now called DAC Beechcrofts.
Mm-hmm.
I trained there and I qualified there, and I continued to work there.
Yeah. For how long?
Until 1999.
Yeah.
Which is when I, not out of choice, but out of circumstance, moved back to Kenya.
We'll get there.
We'll come to that.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So that's my.
Just before we get there, we've had so many people coming to this show telling us they were always number one in their formative years. Were you that kid who was always number one?
Yes.
Oh, jeez, I was waiting for a different answer. So number one in...
I did well, yes.
The entire time?
Pretty much, yes.
Oh, Jesus. Oh. All right.
Aren't you also the same?
No. I was number two, number three. I was never number one.
Sometimes I wasn't number one.
Oh, but I was a cheeky kid. Yeah, really cheeky. Yeah. So why did you decide to come to practice in Kenya?
So it's a very interesting story.
Yes.
I was very much settled and working in the UK, as I've just said.
Yeah.
And even my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, my family was still here.
Yeah.
My parents.
Yeah.
And on New Year's Eve, on 1998, in the morning, I got a phone call that my father had a heart attack.
Sorry. Yeah.
And the next phone call was that he passed away, which was within an hour.
Yeah.
So my life turned very quickly.
Yeah.
We come, as we are all Kenyan, we come from a very family culture.
Yeah.
So when I came back the next day, for all that was going on, that was it.
Yeah.
I was back home to look after
the family. Yeah.
My mum.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
You're the firstborn?
No, I'm the last born.
I
have three elder sisters,
Yes.
but they were all in their own lives and married.
Yeah.
So I had to look after my father's business for a little while, which I'll come to.
Yeah.
And the family. And 25 years later, no regrets whatsoever. It was very sad what happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when one door closes, another one opens. And I haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky to be back home.
Yeah. So when we've seen a situation where when guys are coming from abroad, coming to start their practice in Kenya, there are a bit of challenges with the Council for Legal Education and the kind of guys who do that sort of stuff. What was your experience when you're coming at that time?
You know, I'll tell you what happened when I came back. First of all,
Yeah.
I didn't start practicing law straight away.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because I had to take care of my dad's business
Yes.
and of course some other stuff.
Yeah.
So for 1 year,
Yeah.
I ran a shop
Yes.
in River Road.
Uh-huh. Interesting stuff.
A small shop in
Yeah.
River Road, which was
Yeah.
my dad's shop,
Uh-huh.
and I used to go in the morning,
Yeah. Open.
like a dukawala,
Yeah.
open the locks,
Yeah.
stay there through the day till 5 o'clock, and we were selling cloth,
Yes.
as many of my community did at that time.
Yeah.
We used to sell cloth for 40 shillings a meter or 50 shillings a meter,
Yeah.
sometimes 100.
Yeah.
The profit,
Mm-hmm.
the gross profit, not
Yes.
even the net profit on that, was like 1 shilling a meter.
Oh,
sometimes 50 cents.
Uh-huh.
So I learned biashara,
Yes.
the hard way,
Yeah.
how to make small money,
Yeah.
and how to account every day for
Yes.
cash.
Yeah.
So that's what I did for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I hadn't gone to school all these years and all that to run a shop in River Road,
Yeah.
and eventually found out that wasn't my why I was back,
Yeah.
and then decided to go into the practice of
Yeah.
law.
Yeah.
And what happened there was my father had a friend.
Yes.
In fact, he had some case going on
Yeah.
which was being handled by Mohammed Madani.
Mohammed Madani. Yes.
Mohammed Madani, which is now Mohammed Madani and Company,
Yes.
a great lawyer.
Yeah.
And my uncle asked him if I can see him and spend some time
Yeah.
in his office, which I did
Yeah.
part-time.
Yeah.
And then it became full-time as we shut down the other business.
Yeah.
And I used to go there very early in the morning and leave very late at night.
Yeah.
And I learned conveyancing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man there called Luis de Souza,
Yeah.
who was a clerk,
Yes.
a former surveyor of Kenya in the colonial times.
Uh-huh.
And he used to handwrite debentures and
Yes.
handwrite legal charges
Yeah.
and handwrite conveyancing documents.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot about Kenyan land law.
Yes.
And that's what I did there for about a year.
Uh-huh.
Not as a Kenyan qualified lawyer, but just helping.
Yes.
And then enrolled around about that time with Kenya School of Law.
Yes.
We were lucky in those days.
Mm-hmm.
They recognized my qualification in the UK.
Yeah.
So I had to sit 4 exams.
Only for papers.
Only 4 papers.
Yeah.
Family, constitution, land,
Yeah.
something else.
Yes. And criminal, I guess.
Criminal.
Yeah.
And we did that. We were lucky again in those days. You could just read notes and sit the exam.
Yeah.
You didn't really have to attend full time like you do. I did attend
Mm-hmm.
a bit, but not full time. And I sat the exams and passed those, and then we were called.
So you got 4 Ps?
Four.
4.
I passed 4 exams.
4 exams.
I don't know
Because
what
we call them 9 Ps now.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah,
you have
so
to do
4.
9 papers.
Yeah. I'd done everything else before in London,
Yes,
remember?
yeah.
So anyway, so then you go through the process, and I was called to the bar,
Yeah.
which is the only time I think I've been to court in Kenya.
No, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Let's not. There's a story that. So the last time we were here,
Yeah.
we were seated across on that table,
Yes.
and we were with Philip,
Yes.
and he described you as very industrious.
Yes.
Do you think that comes from you running a shop in River Road?
100%.
Oh, really?
I started working
Yeah.
at the age of 7 or 8.
Child
was-
labor.
It was child labor, and in certainly in my family, but I think partly in our culture as well.
Yeah.
When you were on holiday,
Yes.
you go to the shop
Okay.
and you help.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you help by moving things around, carrying things, walking here, walking there with your dad.
Yeah.
In those days, there was a lot of physical stuff. You went to the bank, you drove a car, you delivered goods, all those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I'd go with my dad
Mm-hmm.
every holiday
Yes.
until I was in university. Every holiday.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot of business from there,
Yeah.
and hard work and grit,
Yeah.
because that's how people are successful.
Yeah.
There's no replacement for hard work and grit,
Yeah.
and physical work as well.
Yes.
And I guess maybe that's why I am, I guess, entrepreneurial or industrious or whatever you would call it.
Yeah. So at this time when you're getting called to the bar, do you go through the pupillage experience as well?
Yes, kind of. I think Mr. Madani was my pupil master. I think he was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'd done all those 3 or 4 things that you had to do to
Yeah.
go around.
Yes.
And then he signed me off, and then I was called.
And then from there, where do you go?
So then I was still with Madani for, like I said, for a year and a bit. I think I can't exactly. And then it was interesting. My mother at that time was involved in a traffic incident.
Yes.
Which was in court.
Yeah.
And her lawyer was a gentleman called Donald Kipkorir.
DBK.
DBK 007.
Yes.
And I met him because of my mum's case.
Yeah.
And he asked me why I'm not working for him. And within a few weeks, I was working for him. Don is a charming guy.
Yeah.
He convinced me to go and work there for about, I think I was there for about 2 years.
Yes.
And I did, he's a litigation lawyer and I was a corporate lawyer, banking lawyer, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did all that work for him.
For 2 years?
For about 2 years. Maybe just under. And then in 2002,
yes,
I met, or around that time, I met Adil Khwaja, who is my friend and the managing partner of Hamilton's.
Yes.
And he offered me, why don't you move here and come to a bigger firm and help us with our corporate practice.
Yes.
So I moved there in 2002 at the age of, at that time I guess I was 26.
Yeah.
Ish, 27, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I moved, I had asked them, can I be a partner?
Yeah.
They looked at me and said, you're a kid.
I
said, look, I'll prove it. I moved in November 1st.
Yes.
And on 1st December, they made me a partner. 1st January, they made me a partner.
How so? I mean...
No, I'd said this is what I would deliver, and I did in 2 months. That I will do this work, this work, this work. There was an understanding that if I am who I am, they would make me a partner, and I became a partner.
So in less than 2 months, you're a partner?
Yeah.
At one of the biggest and the oldest law firm in Kenya?
Yeah.
Oh Lord!
Yeah. And it was a great move for me.
Yeah.
Hamilton's is and was a great firm.
Yes.
That time, and even now, absolutely first-class lawyers.
Yes.
I met Ken Fraser, who was the managing partner, senior partner then. Unfortunately, passed away recently.
Yeah.
Probably one of the finest lawyers this country will ever see. He taught me integrity, professionalism, courtesy, hard work, all those good things.
Yes.
Drafting well, writing well. I wasn't a litigation lawyer, but he had that, those principles.
Yes.
By which the firm went.
Yeah.
And then I worked in their corporate department, which was mixed bag because you did conveyancing, banking, corporate work.
Yeah.
With my good friend Richard Omela.
Yeah.
Who also opened a lot of doors for me
in
terms of client work, other contacts.
Yes.
And in 2004, so 2003, I think 2003, we also had a gentleman called Mike Soman.
Mike Soman.
Who was a former senior partner of Hamilton's, who was still a consultant.
Yeah.
A very respected old lawyer.
Yeah.
A bit of a guru of corporate law in Kenya at the time. He opened a few doors for me, and I did my first big transaction in 2003, which was working on the sale of Kensel, which is now Airtel, to a company called Zain.
Yes.
And we were working for the financiers.
Yeah.
It was many millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That was my first big job, and then I worked on an acquisition of a bank in Rwanda. Soon after that, and then a few years later, because it was a Kibaki regime at that time, the whole wave of privatization started.
Yes.
And we were very fortunate because Hamilton's at that time was probably the only firm that had experience, recent experience in that. And our first IPO was Kenyan, which I worked on.
Yeah.
I used to do due diligence and everything else.
Yeah.
At that time. And then we worked on probably the whole wave of IPOs and privatizations in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And I led quite a lot of those.
Yeah.
So for example, Kenya Re, Telcom Kenya, which was the biggest privatization. Government sold it for $390 million.
Yes.
In December 2007.
Yeah.
We worked on other IPOs.
Yeah.
We worked on
Safaricom?
Safaricom we did not, to be honest, because I'll tell you why, I'll come back to that.
Okay.
And then we worked on Kenya Railways privatization, which was not a great story, but we worked on that. We worked on many financings.
Yes.
Kenya ports, other big companies.
Yeah.
Hamilton's had a great client base,
Yeah.
so I got the opportunity.
Yes.
And that's how I grew my practice and learned.
So let me ask you, I'm so sure there's someone who's going to look at this interview and ask himself or themselves, how the hell do you become a partner in 2 months? So what are some of the skills that enabled you and you thought that this is what got me from where, from 1st of November and then in January I'm a partner?
Remember, I'd worked before.
Yes.
Right? So it wasn't that I was unknown in the market.
Yes.
And through Madani and my other experience, I had built up a client book.
Yes.
Already.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had contacts at banks who would put me on the panel or our firms on the panel.
Yeah.
And I had other contacts in business
Yes.
who had given us work. So I came with a book, so to speak. But Hamilton's, of course, had its own book.
Yes.
And they needed lawyers as well.
Yeah.
So I brought that, and I managed to convince them that I could deliver on the work as well for the other clients.
Yeah.
That's one part.
Yeah.
The second part is, so that comes with a bit of credibility, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But the second part is showing that you can work incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And you have to. There is, like I said, no substitute for that.
Yeah.
I would work 12, 15 hours a day, easy, or even more, throughout. Third is proving that you're a man of integrity or a person of integrity.
Yes.
Which sadly is a trait that is less common nowadays.
Yeah. Especially in lawyers.
Especially.
Yeah.
And then just being able to connect with your fellow colleagues and build that internal network, get the confidence from them.
Yeah.
That you can deliver. And I guess we clicked.
Yeah.
And I didn't disappoint them.
Yeah.
So there's no magic formula. But if you come with all these ingredients and confidence, you need a lot of confidence. In it. You have to have confidence. And I didn't disappoint them.
Yeah. And so you stay at HHM for how long?
10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
Exactly 10 years. I moved here in I think it was November 2013.
November 2013.
No, sorry, January 2014.
2014.
Yeah. I left HHM in November 2013.
Now, there's a story now I want to. You're making a move from HHM, a very big, well-established law firm. At that time, had Coulson.
Yes, this firm, Bowman's Coulson Hani at that time, was 3 or 4 years old.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
So, what convinces you to jump that move and make that move from a well-established place to a place where?
Yeah. Look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Hamilton's. It's a great firm. It was a great firm at that time.
Yeah.
I had made very good friends with Richard and Philip.
Yeah.
Richard Hani and Philip Coulson.
Yeah.
Because of work, largely. We were on opposite sides of transactions, and we clicked very well.
Yeah.
And they had this vision of building a young, dynamic, modern firm, not just in Kenya, but in Africa.
Yeah.
HHM was a Kenyan firm.
Yeah.
And I very much aligned with that strategy or vision of being Pan-African.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest selling point.
Yeah.
This was a very small firm at that time. I
Yes.
think when I joined, we were 20 people.
20 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was much smaller than Hamilton's.
Yeah.
But I saw the opportunity.
Yes.
And I liked the people.
Yeah.
And I liked how they worked.
Yeah.
And I liked the forward vision.
Yeah.
Not that Hamilton's didn't have any of that, but
Yeah.
I just thought this was a fresh, new start for me.
Yeah.
I was young enough to make that move.
Yeah.
I would never move again. And again, no regrets moving here.
They didn't keep convinced with alcohol. Tell you, come PARAS, let's do something here. Of course,
of course.
Yeah.
There were many discussions.
Yes.
Not about money, but just about the vision of the firm.
vision.
I never negotiate about my own money.
Yeah.
Because you have to prove how much you're worth.
Yeah.
You can't demand it.
And at HHM, did you have any leadership roles? Did you become a managing partner,
No.
partner?
HHM, I was a partner.
Yeah.
An equity partner.
Yes.
No, I didn't have any particular leadership roles. I had helped in many areas of the firm.
Yeah.
I was not a senior partner,
Okay.
managing partner, anything like that.
Yes.
Or head of department.
Yeah.
No.
So you jump in straight to partnership at Bowman's.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, of course, I would only move as an equity partner, which I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how you started as 20 people?
No, I think when I joined, there were probably about 25 people in the firm.
Yes.
When I joined.
Yeah.
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 Today we're 200.
200 people.
Of which 100 are lawyers or fee earners.
Yes.
100 plus fee earners.
So you joined as a partner?
I joined as a partner as the head of the M&A and projects team.
Yes.
Because my practice is a bit wide.
Yeah.
So I used to do some projects work as well.
Yeah.
So I joined as head of M&A and projects.
Yeah. So for a young advocate who doesn't know, because M&A is quite specialized.
Yes.
In a profession where its specialization is quite young.
Yes.
And it's something that people are quite, you don't really want to jump into the fray. What did you tell that young lawyer? At what time is it ideal for them to specialize?
Well, let me say a couple of things. One, it's very important to have a knowledge of various practices of law.
Yeah.
Right? You can be a specialist, but it's really important to know other stuff as well.
Yes.
So my practice is real estate, banking and finance, M&A.
Yeah.
At that time, I was doing competition work as well and projects work. So I was very varied practice. I wasn't just an M&A lawyer.
Yeah.
Why I say that it's important to know all these things is because when you do M&A work, it inevitably involves everything.
Yes.
Aspects of all of these things. Not necessarily projects, but certainly the other things.
Yeah.
Employment, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So in HHM, we were jacks of all trade in a sense.
Yeah.
That gives you a very good foundation.
Yeah.
Then you kind of find your calling because what you enjoy is where you'll go.
Yeah.
In life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So to me, have a good foundation of different areas of law.
Yeah.
Because just pupillage alone doesn't give you that. You need to practice a bit.
Yeah.
But early on, you will know what your interests are.
Yeah.
It could be in tech law, it could be in disputes, it could be in competition, it could be in M&A, whatever.
Yeah.
The world is becoming increasingly specialized.
Yeah.
And in the UK, you were specialized from day one. You had to choose, I'm going to be this or that.
Oh.
So I was already an M&A lawyer when I qualified in the UK.
UK, yeah.
So it was natural for me to go back to that. In fact, I was an insurance M&A lawyer, not just an M&A lawyer. Because all the M&A I did was insurance.
Yes.
So you kind of, I naturally gravitated back towards that.
Yeah.
Because I guess, trained in that.
Yeah.
So I guess, early on, you should know where you're going and what kind of area you want to practice in.
Yeah.
I think the world is going back into, whereas you have specialisms,
yeah,
you might have a specialism in tech
yes.
or in pharma. I think people are becoming sector-specific specialists.
Yeah.
And then you practice M&A within that sector. So there's even more specialism now. So
yes.
you need to know a lot about a particular sector.
Yeah.
And I think Kenya will go there, particularly in tech.
Yeah.
Because we're obviously quite advanced in that side of things.
Yeah.
And then you can do M&A in tech or finance in tech or whatever. So I think it's going to be even more specialist. But my advice to anyone is if you really want a long career in the law and you want to practice on interesting things,
yes,
not just rundown matters,
then
you should think about specializing in something that you enjoy.
At what age?
As early as possible.
As early as possible.
There's no substitute for that.
Yeah. So here you are. What time do you become a managing partner at?
I was elected.
Oh, first of all, let's go through how that process starts.
Oh, here?
Yeah, of becoming a managing partner.
Okay, here. So we, this firm has fantastic structures.
Yes.
Okay. Governance structures.
Yes.
All sorts of structures.
Yeah.
As an African firm and also as a Kenyan office.
Yeah.
Pretty much replicated around international best practice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like any successful organization, you will have succession in governance as well.
Yeah.
You can't have a chairman for life or a president for life.
Yes.
Well, some countries do. We don't, luckily. Or a CEO for life and that stuff. So we have those structures. Yeah. And Richard has done a fantastic job, Hani, in setting up the firm and leading it through this phenomenal growth phase and attracting great talent and clients and so on.
Yeah.
for the time that he did, which was I think 12 or 13 years. And then he decided it's time to move that role and let someone else do it. And he would take on a senior role as well at the same time. And in our firm, it's not that he just says, you will do it. We go through a process. And that process involves consulting every single partner, taking their views, and effectively you're elected. I didn't have an opposition, so to speak, so it wasn't that it was contested, but I was still elected about 3 years ago, which is when I took over.
So it's basically what we see in Suits.
Kind of,
sort of.
I mean, I wish life was like Suits, but kind of.
Interesting. So you've been the managing partner for 3 years?
About 3 years,
And how long is the term?
We have terms of 5 years.
5 years.
So every 5 years you need to get elected. There's no limit on how many terms, but I certainly don't intend to be here for the rest of my life as managing partner.
And then at that time, had you guys done the thing with Bowman's?
Yes. Bowman's. Well, listen, this firm started with Bowman's. At that time, it wasn't one firm. In 2008, it was an alliance or part of the group, so not integrated as one.
I
think we integrated in maybe 2015, 14, just after I joined, maybe a year, and then rebranded into Bowman's.
So there's a partnership board for the whole.
So we have for the Africa firm. There's a partnership board where I sit as well as an elected member of that partnership board. I've been on that board for a long time. I think most of my time here I've been on that board. Then we have other boards. So there's a partnership board. Underneath is a management board, which are the managers of the business. Finance, business development, managing partner, IT, all those things you need. Then we have a remuneration board, which decides on partners' pay. It's a very emotional topic, very complicated topic. No law firm in the world has got it right. I don't think no one ever will. That's an elected body where I sat for 6 years. Elected body of 6 partners, which sits every year in a very thorough process to decide on partner remuneration for the next year. And then we have various other organs. One is an Africa committee, which decides on the expansion into other African countries. And then we have local structures as well. Here I have an exco of 6 partners, which help me manage the firm with business service leaders.
So in general, Bowman's has presence in how many countries?
5 countries.
5 countries.
South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Mauritius, Zambia.
All of them Anglophone.
All Anglophone, correct. And then we have an alliance in Nigeria and an alliance in Ethiopia. We had offices in other countries which we've exited from because that's business. You have to
so this is a bit confusing for people who might not know the working structure of that. When you mean you have an alliance, what do you mean?
So alliance is a firm that you have a very strong relationship with, which are very similar to you in the way of working. But they're not integrated with you. Operationally. So we don't share the same IT system. We don't share the same brand. And we don't share the same structures and systems. But they're very similar to us. The eventual aim is for that relationship to get strong, and then become one.
What are some of your best transactions that you've done? Of course, this is out in the public domain.
Of course. Look, I've been very fortunate to work on phenomenal transactions with phenomenal people in other firms, our peer firms, as well as other advisors. I would say the landmark ones that I remember, I think the Kenyan IPO was an amazing transaction. My first capital markets transaction here. But at that time led by unbelievable people who, the Kibaki era transformed this country to a large extent. And we had people like Eddie Joroge, who was then the MD of Kenyan. Amazing leader. On the government side, we had people like Esther Koimat, who was the investment secretary, who led the whole process, and many other people. And banks and stockbrokers and all sorts of people. So to me, that was my biggest learning. And entry into big corporate work in Kenya. I think that the privatization of Telkom was another landmark transaction here, which was hugely complicated, and it also included the sale of Safaricom. You might not know this, but Telkom owned Safaricom. So we had to detach that and move it into government and lots of negotiations in different parts of the world
Yeah.
around that. I have then some other IPOs and things. I think the other one was the first infrastructure bond in Kenya, which was Kenyan again, 18 billion shillings.
18 billion shillings.
Yeah. Which I worked on. We worked on government sovereign bonds as well.
Yeah.
And more recently, some really interesting transactions. More recently, Navas, I do a lot of work for the shareholders and for the company.
Yeah.
And I've taken them through that process of corporatizing and bringing in new investors.
Yeah.
That was the largest deal we did.
Yeah.
Another very interesting deal was Allianz's acquisition of Jubilee Insurance, which is a very big transaction.
Yeah.
And then now a bigger African transaction where there's a joint venture with Sanlam.
Yeah.
I worked on that.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of different things. And then, I do, in my past, I've also done lots of real estate work. So you might not know, but the World Bank building I've transacted. Delta Corner there I've transacted. Quite a few big buildings here in Nairobi I've transacted.
So in short, you've done every big transaction in Nairobi. Which big transaction have you not done? I'm curious.
There must be many.
Not really.
There are many good lawyers in this city.
Of course there are. But you have very few outliers as well.
I've been very fortunate.
Which major transaction have you not done?
Safaricom IPO. We didn't do that. And I'll tell you why we didn't do that.
Yes.
That was obviously it's a government transaction, so it has to go through a tendering process for legal services.
Yeah.
We pitched for that.
Yes.
We were highest on technical by a mile amongst the 4 or 5 firms that qualified.
Yeah.
We had put in a bid, if I remember correctly, at that time of legal fees of, I don't know, I think it was 12 million shillings or something.
Yeah.
In the context of things, not that much, because this was a massive transaction.
Yeah.
The consortium that won it, you can find out who they are. They just qualified. Their technical mark was 70, ours was 90, I think.
Yeah.
So they barely just made it.
Yeah.
But their financial bid was pretty much zero. It was like 2 million or so. Yeah. So they won. I don't agree with that system of procurement because you don't get the best.
Yeah.
So I didn't. We should have won that.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
I have no regrets.
Yeah.
So that's one I didn't work on.
Yeah. And what was your worst transaction? You mentioned Kenya Rio at some point.
I wouldn't say it was the worst transaction.
Yeah.
I would say when looking back, it wasn't a successful transaction.
Yeah.
Okay. The privatization of Kenya-Uganda Railways.
Yes.
To a company called Shelton Rail. It was kind of doomed to fail from day one almost.
Yeah.
So when I look back, it wasn't the most rewarding transaction I worked on.
Yeah. So in all these transactions that you're doing, you do work a lot with government mandarins, right?
I used to do a lot of work with government, as in for government even.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you get hold of, because there's a way the government works, and when you're coming from the private sector, there's a way you work.
Yeah.
And it's a proper conflict.
You'll be very surprised how good our civil service is. We
shock me.
Kenyans just like saying negative things.
Yes.
And we like talking negative.
Yeah.
But this country, certainly when I did a lot of work for government, and even now, there are phenomenal people in government.
Yes.
Very hardworking, very able, very clever, and get things done.
Yeah.
I've named a few: Esther Koimet,
Edin Njoroge,
yes. Wycliffe Shamia, at the CMA, many, there are many.
Yes.
At that time there was Solomon Kitungu in the privatization space. Many. And we used to work with World Bank a lot as well, because a lot of these mandates were joint with World Bank.
Yeah.
So when you get the right people, things work very well.
Yeah.
Of course, like government is a big beast. There are things that work and things that don't work.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that whatever I've worked on, things have worked.
Yeah.
And with very, very able people. And even today in our government, we should be very proud of the kind of people that we have in many areas that make things happen.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to your farm. How did you guys pull off COVID?
We were very proactive. So let me tell you what happened.
Yes.
On I think it was March the 7th was the first announcement that schools are going to close.
Yes.
March the 7th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had gone to London about a week before for a meeting.
Yes.
When I landed at Heathrow, I was told the meeting was cancelled because of COVID.
Yeah.
So literally I stayed a night and turned back,
Yeah.
which I think was one of the last flights back into Nairobi.
Yeah.
When we arrived here, Kenya was still, maybe this is not our problem.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it quickly became a global problem.
Yeah.
On the first day that happened, I was part of the team here to deal with it.
Yeah.
The first thing we did was say, how prepared are we? At that time, we were probably about 150, 160 people.
Yeah.
The first was to make sure, of course, of the well-being of our colleagues.
Yes.
Everyone. Their personal health, personal safety.
Yeah.
So all that physical stuff was done.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
The second was, how do we keep the business going?
Yes.
And for that, we needed to, remember, one of the great things about this firm, we'd invested a lot in systems, in technology, and all sorts of things before.
Yes.
So we were probably one of the most advanced in terms of tech in this country.
Yeah.
So I checked that time and I said, does every single person who needs a computer here have a laptop?
Yes.
Most people have.
Yeah.
But not everyone.
Yeah.
Because people still have desktops.
Yeah.
We went and purchased, I think, 50 or 60 laptops. Just like that, straight away, whether we need it or not.
Yeah.
We purchased bandwidth. We purchased modems for people to work at home.
Yeah.
Within 12 hours, every single person in this office was told to go home and work.
Yes.
And we switched on and it worked beautifully.
Yeah.
Many firms did not do that.
Yes.
So they didn't work for weeks, months.
Yeah.
Or only some people worked and some people didn't.
Yeah.
Every single person in this office was online at 8 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Working remotely.
Yeah.
We tested our systems. There were a few glitches, but within 48 hours, 0 glitches.
Yeah.
It worked. Number 3, our clients. We kept very hard in touch with our clients on the phone, on Zoom, etc. And to make sure there was continuity so that no business stopped.
Yeah.
Transactions continued. Whatever happened, all the work that we're doing continued. And the clients appreciated the fact that there was no disruption.
Yeah.
One good thing about our country, our courts started working virtually.
Virtually, yes.
So that was very good for our disputes.
Yeah.
Fourth, and very importantly, we assured every single person in this office that they would not lose their job. Come what may.
Good stuff.
Not only that, we assured them we would not cut their salaries.
Okay.
We did not cut 1 shilling of anyone's,
Yes.
except the owners of this firm. We all took 50% pay cuts.
The owners of capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
We decided we'll sacrifice
Yes.
for that period, but make sure no one in this firm, even if it was a driver who couldn't do his job, or someone who couldn't do her job because they were not remote workers.
Yeah.
They were at home, but they were paid.
Yeah.
Full. So we adapted like that. And with hindsight, we did very well because actually work continued to come.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
We made sure, of course, our cash flow was intact.
Yeah.
We had bank lines, all that open in case of the worst.
Yeah.
And then slowly people started getting used to what's going on. We were allowed to come to the office. I think 20 times we came to the office, and then one person got COVID, and 20 times we went back.
Yeah.
Shut everything. We had to evacuate, smoke out, whatever, fumigate, and so on and so forth. But we got used to it. I think in terms of productivity, we were more productive during that time.
Yeah.
But more stressed.
Yeah.
Our clients did not suffer, and we continue to do the great work that we do. So we were prepared, we were invested, we were financially very strong, and my partners were very proactive in making sure our people were looked after.
Yeah. Now, in the same breath, we see a lot of. I think I shouldn't call that on air. I'll get stick for that. We see a lot of organizations not adapt to the new realities of life, new ways of doing things. For example, we have technology coming in. There are new and fresher emerging areas of practice of law. How are you guys positioning yourself? For example, things like gender inclusion, ESG. How are you guys positioning your firm for that?
If you're not going to accept that the world is moving, the world will move. And you will not with it.
Yes.
So you'll be left behind.
Yeah.
So to me, if you are a business organization which is not adapting very quickly to the times,
yes,
you're dead in no time.
Yeah.
And the world is moving even faster every day.
Yeah.
So we innovate every single day in this office.
Yeah.
Internally, in terms of tech, generative AI,
yeah,
we've adopted that 2 years ago.
Oh, you guys have?
Yes. We have automation systems,
yeah,
project management systems. We probably spend on tech and software in excess of $1 million, $2 million a year, just on that.
Yeah.
Okay. To keep up with the times.
Yeah.
Remote working, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's one side. So tech, you don't have a choice.
You have to.
If you're not going to do it,
yes,
then you might as well close your doors.
Yeah.
When was the last time you went to a bank branch physically?
I don't remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If your bank didn't have the capacity to deliver on your mobile, would you be with that bank?
No.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
So your clients will go.
Yes.
That's one. People. We were, even before COVID, we were allowing flexible working. Hybrid working.
Yes.
At that time, more it was for people who had the need to do that. Parents with young children who have to go to school, pick them up, or they don't have help that day, or whatever, or who are looking after the things, or who have traveled, or are not 100%, whatever. So we were very flexible with that kind of stuff. But of course, in COVID, we now have a formal policy. You can work at home. 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or whatever. And then you have the tech to back that up. Gender and youth. Our partnership, I think, is more than 50% women. Think, but pretty much 50-50. Might be slightly off. My leadership team here in Kenya, half are women, and they're phenomenal.
Yes.
As men are as well.
Yes.
Okay. So we are at par with everything. To allow our female colleagues to also have a family and all the duties that go with that, with young motherhood and so on, we have huge amount of support. From support through pregnancy and early childcare, facilities in the office, extended maternity leave, and even when they come back kind of on a progressive basis, not full time. And then mentorship and support throughout.
Yes.
And that works fantastically well. In terms of areas of practice, if you told me that you are a conveyancing lawyer or a banking lawyer or a real estate lawyer or a court lawyer, leave alone an M&A lawyer, and that's all we do, your firm, you might as well close it down. If you're not going to think of other areas of law that are emerging. Tech is our fastest growing team here today. We have more than 10, 15 lawyers just doing
tech. Oh, okay.
Tech, nothing else.
Yes.
And by tech, I don't mean patents. I mean proper tech.
Yes.
Payment solutions.
Yes.
Mobile money. Crypto.
Yes.
Data. All those kind of things. Data centers.
Yes.
Everything that goes around. Okay. Tax is an area that, when I started practicing in this country, was not for lawyers.
It
was for the accountants.
Yes.
Now we've taken it back. Tax, we have, I think, 15, 20 lawyers here as well. 10, 15 lawyers. A very fast growing area.
Yes.
ESG. Not just environmental stuff, because everyone's environmental. I know what I'm doing. NEMA. That's not ESG. Even now, as we speak, on the other side of this floor, there's a seminar going on carbon credits. We're a leading law firm in carbon credits. In climate change. And all the stuff that goes around that, including disclosures. And you just have to look at what's happening in the West. It's going to come here. Social.
Yes.
And of course, then environmental and all that stuff. Governance. A big part of our work today is crisis management.
That's true.
Crisis management is not necessarily the practice of law only. There's a big legal component to it, but crisis management is actually managing and helping your boardroom, your client's boardroom, manage a crisis. Everyone goes through a crisis probably once a week, big or small. And that's a big part of, and for that we deploy very senior lawyers, 3 or 4 very senior lawyers from here, to help boardrooms manage a crisis, because that you need experience. That's a big part of our work. These areas of work didn't exist 5-6 years ago.
That's true.
Even on 10-15 years ago. And I see in 10-15 years it'll be even different, more different. So we have to innovate. And then The other thing we've invested a lot in, and law firms have to, is in your people. So knowledge and training. Our lawyers probably go through formal training of at least 3 or 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
Each lawyer. Each week.
Yeah.
52 weeks a year. Yeah. And that could be anything.
Yeah.
From legal practice to other things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's well-being, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
I don't think many law firms can offer that.
Yeah.
Okay. We have an online system called Agility.
Agility.
Where you can learn how to be a plumber.
Oh.
You can learn how to change your light bulb.
Oh.
You can learn how to do a balance sheet.
Yeah.
You can learn areas of law.
Yeah.
You can learn crypto.
Yeah.
You can learn anything.
Yeah.
There's about hundreds of courses.
Is it paid?
Paid by us.
But
you don't have as a and by the way, that's open not just to lawyers.
Yes.
It's open to anyone.
Yeah.
We have people here who've done courses in all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it costs us a lot of money, but
Yeah.
it's great for the people.
Yes.
Because everyone wants to learn. Right?
Yeah.
So that's again in the forefront.
Yeah.
Then we have a very interesting thing where we invested again, looking forward is secondments. So our lawyers have been on secondments to the US, to Europe, to the UK, to South Africa, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda.
Yeah.
We have people from Japan here. Even now we have a secondee from Japan sitting here.
Yeah.
From another law firm there. We have people going to Dubai, all sorts of places.
Yeah.
Not just to understand how legal systems and law firms work, but it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
Because in this world you must be appreciative of different cultures.
Yes.
And diversity.
Yeah.
So that works beautifully for us. We invest a huge amount of money in that.
Yeah.
So all these areas are things that we do. And then we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money on having fun as well.
Yeah. There's a bar here.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And there's a lot of artwork here as well.
We pride ourselves in our art.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of the bigger collections of art amongst offices in Kenya.
Yeah.
We've been collecting art since the day this firm started.
Yeah.
And we have a budget set every year. But only to promote East African art.
Contemporary.
Different. But only East African artists.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful stuff we have here.
Oh, there's a buddy of mine, so that's something that we have an interest in. I do a bit of collection here and there.
Oh, good.
There's a buddy of mine called Shah. I know he's going to watch the interview, and he's really curious to watch. He wants to see your collection.
He must come.
Yes,
our office is open.
I'll tell him that. Now, I'll tell you something your friend said might throw you off balance a bit. Your friend DBK. He gave
you interviewed DBK?
I want to.
You must.
Yes, I should.
Yeah.
I gave these large law firms some stick a while ago and saying they're foreign owned, and he didn't understand why. He didn't understand how they're not owned by Kenyans; they're owned by foreigners. It's just a shell. It's a corporate shell that is something in sort of those lines. And it's a rumor that has I know I've heard it quite a number of times at a number of engagements with other lawyers. Maybe it's something you said something about it. Yeah.
Kwani mimi si Mkenya? Look.
Yeah.
We have 200 plus people in this office.
Yes.
Of which, let's say they're 200. I think that maybe a bit more. Let's say they're 200.
Yeah.
199 of those 200 are Kenyan citizens.
Yes.
And as far as I remember, since I was born,
Kenya
is not just for certain types of people.
That's true.
I'm Indian by origin,
but
as I've told you, I'm fourth generation Kenyan. I have no home outside Kenya.
Yeah.
I have no connection outside Kenya.
Yeah.
Neither does Philip. Neither does the other people who are so-called foreigners.
Yes.
They're not foreigners.
Yeah.
Philip is more Kenyan than you, I can assure you. And he speaks better Swahili than you.
Oh, yeah.
So this nonsense that we are foreign owned.
Yes.
Let them come and just see who is working here.
Yeah.
Who owns this firm?
Yeah.
Who shares in the profits of this firm?
Yeah.
We don't send money to any foreigners.
Yeah.
Yes, we are part of a bigger firm.
Yeah.
Because that's the way of the world.
Yeah.
But we are not far. I think that is far from the truth.
Yeah.
I think it's very misleading.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe people like that think like that.
Yeah.
DBK is a close friend of mine. He knows I'm not a foreigner. I work for him.
Tell him I want to interview him.
So he can't tell us we're foreigners.
Yeah. You have another skill. Rumor has it you've been a DJ. Tell me about that story.
You know,
first of all, is it true?
It is true.
You've been a DJ?
Yes.
Good
Radio
stuff.
DJ.
Yeah. Radio DJ.
I enjoy music.
Uh-huh.
And many years ago, when we were young,
Yeah.
Again, it was that time of 99, 2000.
Yeah.
My very good friend, who is also a very prominent lawyer here, he's called Deepan. Deepan Shah also.
Deepan?
He's at Walker Contras.
Yes.
Very good partner there.
Yeah.
We used to go hang out together. And we had another friend called Waweru Joroge. You might know him.
Waweru.
He used to be a newscaster on, I think,
KTN.
Yes. Or whatever.
Yes.
He was also a radio DJ.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of other friends. But Waweru used to be a radio DJ at an Indian station called East FM, which is still there.
Yes.
And because we were buddies, he said, why don't you guys come? I show you a few things here.
Yeah.
And, in those days, they were looking for part-time people just for fun.
Yeah.
So we got a job.
Yeah.
They tested us and they liked us.
Yeah.
And Deepan and I got a job on Sunday between 2 and 4.
Uh-huh.
We ran a kind of a chat show.
Uh-huh.
But we had to play Indian music.
Yeah.
Which we did. We didn't know much about it, but we played the same music every week.
Yeah.
We just had fun. So I was a DJ for, I can't remember, 6 months, 9 months or something like that.
And now when I give you a turntable, can you do a few things?
For sure.
Oh, for real? Funny thing, there's a buddy of mine, he's called George Kimotho.
I
He
know
used to
George.
work here.
He used to work here.
He's also a DJ.
He's a very good guy.
Yeah. He's also a DJ.
And then there's another guy, George King.
I know George King as well, yes.
George King he's a singer as well.
Yeah.
So is Philip Coulson.
Philip is
also
things.
an actor.
Yeah. Philip is many things.
We have some singers here as well.
Oh.
Professional.
Oh, jeez.
And actresses and actors.
Uh-huh. So let me give you another rumor about yourself.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't know the rumors. It's only me who's going to know the rumors from the people that I sit with. Rumor has it you have Austin 7.
What?
An Austin 7.
No.
It's not you.
No.
At Conco.
No. No, I'm not really interested in that, but I don't have one for sure.
Yeah. I thought
I drive very conventional cars.
Oh. I thought someone had told me he has a very...
There might be another...
A 1928 Austin 7. And I said,
sounds
Lord.
good, but I don't.
So what do you do for fun?
Look, I have 2 wonderful daughters.
Yes.
So I spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
They are 16 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
One going to 16, one 13.
Yeah.
We travel a lot.
Okay.
I try and take my family to a new country every year.
Good stuff. Yeah.
A new country completely that I have not been to, they have not been to.
Yeah.
Because I think traveling is an education.
Yeah.
So we enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching a lot of TV. I watch a lot of TV.
Uh-huh.
There's probably nothing that I've not watched which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like walking.
Mm-hmm.
Just not hiking.
Yeah.
Just walking in Karura and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I play tennis when I can.
Mm-hmm.
I used to enjoy it, but now I'm a bit older.
Yeah.
I did the Rhino Charge for 12 years.
Oh.
Not as a spectator, as a participant.
Yes.
With my friend Adele from Hamilton's, who is a very avid 4x4 off-roader.
Uh-huh.
I was in his team for many years,
Uh-huh.
which was great. So I like the outdoors.
Yeah.
And I read. I read a lot.
Oh, you read a lot. So basically, that's it. Any final words you want to say?
No, but let me ask you.
Ask me.
You're a young lawyer.
Yes.
And there are many
Yeah.
young lawyers now. I think in my days there were 200 or 300 coming out every year. Now there are thousands.
Yes.
Right? Where do you see our profession going this generation onwards in terms of professionalism, integrity, etc.? Do you think we'll manage to correct the course?
No. It's worse. We have a generation that Gen Z that's quite different. They're learning from bad habits, and they're used to seeing success very quickly. So cultivating some of these things becomes quite a hard sell.
So why are you different?
I didn't say I'm different. I just said I've had a good quite a number of good mentors.
Yeah.
I've sat down with very decent lawyers, and not only are they decent, but they are decent human beings.
Yeah.
and they are able to cultivate some of these things to you. And based on that, I pick one or two things here. But we need to do more. That would be my my ask. And then also, even as young lawyers, we need to do what I would call a reverse mentorship, because we have quite a number of aged lawyers who are not familiar with some of these areas of new areas of practice. And because we're able to grasp some of these things easily, I think it's time we also paid our dues and say, look, we can offer to assist in some of these areas, and we're able to teach you in some of these things. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a very symbiotic kind of relationship.
Yeah, we have a reverse mentorship program here, and you're absolutely right. But my appeal to you, because people listen to you, is to preach that there is no substitute for hard work and honesty amongst your colleagues, your peers.
That's true.
Whether it's in this office or wherever.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think this country has so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
At the same time, so much to lose.
Yeah.
And it is incumbent on your generation.
Yes.
To put us on the right track.
Can I tell you something else?
And be transparent and hold people accountable.
Yeah. Can I tell you something else?
Yeah.
We also need guys like you offering themselves in certain leadership positions where they're elected, so that some of these courses can only be corrected by someone.
No, you're quite right.
Yes.
You're quite right.
Yeah.
The problem with elected leadership, whether it's political or whether it's in our own organization, our professional organization, is if people like me stand and even put in a good show, we're in a world of populism.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if good people can be elected, sadly. But you're quite right.
Yeah.
People must offer themselves and give it a shot.
Yes.
Otherwise, the world will not change.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Give it a decent shot. If it doesn't work, it's also okay if it does work.
But the youth should encourage good people to stand, because what people fear, my generation, is that, of course, the masses are now the youth.
Yeah.
Let's say the LSK.
Yes.
80% of the vote is held by people under 30, probably.
Yeah.
And they will not vote for us. So
Comme ça.
Maybe it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
But yeah, my last words would be to the young lawyers or young people who are listening.
Yeah.
Don't lose the opportunity to make something of our country. We should be very proud of where we are.
Yeah.
Of what country we have, of the people we have.
Yeah.
But please, honesty.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Yes.
Hard work.
Yeah.
There is just no substitute.
And a fluid mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no substitute for that.
Yeah.
So if you do that, I can guarantee you success. Yeah. But thank you. That was.
You need to look at that camera and say Wakili quick one.
Wakili quick one. Thank you.
You also invite me for the party. I hear you guys are having. Are you going to be having
planning a party? We are 15 years old.
Oh, 15 years.
We're young babies.
Oh, please invite me.
Are we done?
Time was the time okay?
Perfect.